Macau is a city where every casino is a machine for converting one currency into another. But on a quiet road in Coloane village, a mile south of the lights of the Cotai Strip, stands a different kind of building. A 22-story tower painted in red and gold. Inside it, 66 gaming tables sit untouched behind a sealed door. The cards have never been dealt. The chips have never been counted. The dice have never been rolled. The tower cost $1.6 billion to build. The room has never been allowed to open. Why? This is the 13, a hotel that cost $1.6 billion to build, opened in September 2018 with rooms still unfinished, and sold 7 years later for under $51 million. It was marketed as the most luxurious casino resort on Earth. It never wagered a single chip. The failure had nothing to do with mismanagement or fraud. It had everything to do with a single decision, made years before the first piece of marble was laid, that quietly and permanently guaranteed the 13 would never be allowed to do the one thing it was designed to do. This is the terrible engineering behind Macau's billion-dollar tomb. To understand what went wrong, you have to understand where it was built. Macau is small, roughly 12 square miles of land divided into 3 sections. There is the Old Peninsula, where the original downtown casinos sit. There is Taipa, the airport island. And to the south, there is the village of Coloane, an old fishing settlement that has never been part of the modern gaming economy. In between Taipa and Coloane, reclaimed from the sea, is a 5-kilometer strip of land covered in glass and gold. This is the Cotai Strip. Every multi-billion-dollar integrated resort in Macau sits on Cotai, from the Venetian and the Parisian to Wynn Palace, MGM Cotai, and Galaxy. This is where the high rollers come, and this is where the licensed casinos operate. The Cotai Strip is the only address in modern Macau where gambling at scale has ever been permitted to grow. In 2013, Hong Kong businessman Stephen Hung bought a parcel of land. It was not on the Strip. It was 1.25 miles south of it, on the edge of Coloane village, on a quiet road behind a residential neighborhood. From the new resort's front steps, you could see the back of the Cotai Strip's brightest towers, the way you can see the back of a stage from the wrong side of the curtain. Hung announced he would build the world's most luxurious casino resort there, a 22-story palace inspired by Louis XIV of France. A Baroque dream wrapped around 66 VIP gaming tables. He called it Louis XIII, then later renamed it the 13. He estimated the cost at $1.3 billion. By the time it opened, the real number was $1.6 billion. That site on the south side of Coloane is the original sin of the 13. Because to put a casino on it, the Macau government had to agree. And the government had never agreed to a casino in Coloane, not for any developer, not once in the modern history of Macau gaming. Every consequence that followed, every empty villa, every Rolls-Royce sold at a loss, every share that went to zero, every lender that demanded its money back, all of it traces back to a single assumption made in 2013. The assumption that the law of Macau would bend to fit the building. It would not. For decades, the rule in Macau gaming has been unambiguous. The 6 concessionaires hold the licenses. Each one operates within the boundaries the government draws around them. To open a casino, you need a permit from DICJ, the Gaming Inspection and Coordination Bureau. To get a permit, your site has to be approved. The Cotai Strip was approved. Coloane was not. Hung knew this, so did his board. The plan was always to negotiate a satellite arrangement with one of the 6 existing license holders, who would lend their permit to the 13 and operate the floor on Hung's behalf. The 13 was designed entirely around that future agreement. The blueprints reserved the floor space. The interior architecture funneled traffic toward a casino entrance. The Rolls-Royces were ordered specifically to shuttle high rollers from the Strip to the doors of a gaming floor that was, on paper, still a wish. In 2013, the year ground was broken. Macau's 6 casinos won $45 billion from gamblers. It was the highest single-year gaming win in the city's history. The math seemed obvious. Build the most exclusive hotel in the world, dangle it in front of the global super rich, and the licenses, the partners, the customers, all of it would follow. It is the engineering equivalent of building a vault before you have agreed on what to put inside it, and trusting that someone will eventually deliver the gold. The first crack appeared the same year Hung broke ground. In November 2012, Xi Jinping became General Secretary of the Chinese Communist Party. By 2013, he had launched an anti-corruption campaign that ran deeper and longer than any in the People's Republic's history. One of its primary targets was capital flight, the quiet movement of mainland Chinese money through Macau's junket operators and into the global financial system. The directive from Beijing was clear: crack down on VIP travel, crack down on the junkets, slow the money down. The result was immediate. In 2013, Macau's 6 casinos won $45 billion from players. By 2016, that number had dropped by 38%. Junket operators began folding. The boss of Sun City, once the largest junket in the city, would eventually be arrested and convicted. The VIP segment, the high roller base that the entire economic case for the 13 depended on, was being dismantled in real time by the highest office in the country. The Cotai Strip operators reacted by pivoting toward the mass market, opening mid-tier rooms, family resorts, retail malls, and cruise-themed canals. The casinos on Cotai are now 4 times more profitable on mass market play than on VIP, by the public estimate of Melco Resorts' own chief executive. Hung did not pivot. He kept building. He kept buying. The 13 stayed locked on a customer base that was already disappearing. By 2016, with the building only partially complete, Hung made the most photographed decision of the entire project. He ordered 30 custom Rolls-Royce Phantoms, painted in red and trimmed in gold, for $20 million. It was the largest single order in Rolls-Royce's company history. Each car was meant to ferry a VIP guest from the Cotai Strip to a casino floor that did not yet legally exist. Imagine commissioning a fleet of getaway cars for a heist the bank had not yet approved. That is what $20 million of paint and leather and engineering bought the 13. A driveway full of evidence that the building intended to gamble, and a government that had still not agreed it would be allowed to. By 2017, the share price of the 13 holdings was bleeding. Shareholders, watching the VIP market shrink, while Hung doubled down on luxury, began to flee. Hung began funding completion himself, selling off stakes in his own family's engineering business to keep the marble flowing. In January 2018, before the hotel opened, he resigned from the board entirely. In September 2018, the 13 finally accepted its first guests. The hotel license came through. The casino license did not. The DICJ has never approved a casino in Coloane. To this day, it has not. The 13 opened with 200 ultra-luxury villas, 5 restaurants, a spa, a fleet of Rolls-Royces, and no gaming floor. The largest villa, the Villa de Steven, named after the man who had already walked away, advertised for $100,000 a night. In its first 12 months of operation, an average of 16 rooms out of 200 were booked per night. That is an occupancy rate of 8%, in a hotel that cost roughly $8 million to build per room. The math, finally, was undeniable. The 13 had been built for one purpose. It was now operating without it. The high rollers Hung had built it for stayed where they played. They stayed on the Strip. They stayed where the tables were. They never came. So why not just fix it? Why not retrofit the building, scrap the casino floor, repurpose it as a high-end residence or a museum? The problem is that the casino was the engineering centerpiece. The traffic patterns, the lobby, the elevators, the villa layouts, the security envelope, the Rolls-Royce-sized driveway, all of it was designed to feed 66 gaming tables on a floor that no permit holder could legally activate. You cannot retrofit a permit into a basement. You cannot move a building 1.25 miles north onto the Strip. The architectural decisions made in 2013 baked the casino into the load-bearing logic of the building. Take the casino out, and what remains is an extraordinarily expensive room with a view of a road that nobody walks down. In February 2020, after roughly 18 months of trying to operate as a luxury hotel without a casino, the 13 closed for the pandemic. It never reopened to its original guests. In 2021, its parent company, South Shore Holdings, was delisted from the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. The same year, a single creditor demanded $423 million in repayment. The company entered bankruptcy. By 2024, the building was put up for public auction at an asking price of $307 million. 24 buyers expressed interest. None of them closed. In June 2025, the building was finally sold to Loy Keong Kuong, the founder of the Rio Hotel Macau, for around $51 million. That is roughly 3% of what it cost to build. The Rolls-Royces had already gone. 24 of the original 30 Phantoms were sold off to pay creditors, each one for $125,000. A loss of $541,000 on every single vehicle. In recent months, the new owner has begun the cosmetic work of erasing the old story. The red exterior, the color of Louis XIII's France, has been repainted gold. A new sign has gone up. A new website has been launched. The light rail transit line that was supposed to make Coloane more accessible has finally opened a station near the property. From a distance, in the right light, the 13 now looks like a building that might one day become a real hotel. From up close, with the empty casino floor still sealed behind its doors, it looks like exactly what it has always been. A monument to the moment a billionaire decided his ambition could outvote geography. So what was the terrible engineering behind the 13? It was not a flawed foundation. It was not a flawed facade. It was a flawed assumption. It was the belief that a license is a formality, that a market can be summoned to an address by the brightness of the marble inside it, that the laws of place can be overridden by the size of the check. Hung built a casino for permission he never received. He built a road for cars that were never given the right to drive it. He built a palace for a king who never arrived. The 13 will not fall over. It will not be torn down. It will be quietly renamed, repainted, and slowly resold to a less ambitious tenant who will try to use it for what it was never actually built to be. And it will stand in Coloane as a permanent gold-painted reminder of the oldest rule in real estate. You can change a building, you can change a brand, you can change the color of the paint, but you cannot move a building 1 inch closer to the customer. Geography does not negotiate, and the most expensive casino in the world is the one you build before anyone has agreed to let you deal a card.